Welcome to 5 simple, quick, actionable tips to banish content chaos. How to make more effective content more easily with a more streamlined and sustainable content system. So, if you've ever felt like your content is kind of chaotic, you're not alone. Maybe you struggle with being consistent. Maybe you don't know what content to create, like what topics actually make sense or what format you should be using. Maybe you have ideas everywhere, but very little actually finished or published content. Or maybe content has actually gotten messier as your business has grown or you've tried to delegate or outsource to others. And here's why this matters. Content chaos can take a real toll on you and your business and your audience. It creates stress and decision fatigue for you. It wastes time and energy in your business, and it often leads to confusing, inconsistent experiences for your audience, which makes it harder for them to trust you, remember you, or take action. For example, from your audience's perspective, content chaos can look like mixed messages, sudden topic shifts, or offers appearing out of nowhere, or long gaps followed by bursts of activity. Even if your content is quote unquote good, that inconsistency and lack of intentionality with your content can quietly erode trust. So, if any of this sounds familiar, I want you to know this is incredibly common. It's totally normal. And even the gurus encounter this from time to time. And it's usually not a motivation or discipline problem. It's often a systems problem, which can definitely be addressed without too much pain, I promise you. So, in this short presentation, I'm going to walk you through 5 simple, quick, actionable tips that can help you banish content chaos. Not by giving you more content ideas, but by improving your content system. These tips are about making your content programming, the strategizing, planning, creating, distributing, tracking, and managing of your content clearer, easier, more efficient, and more sustainable. The goal is to help you make more effective content more easily, without more tools, without more time, without more overwhelm. Think of this as tightening the bolts on what you're already doing, not rebuilding the entire machine. Okay, quick intro so you know where this is coming from. I am Suze from SB Success Factor. Hello, hello, hello. I have a background in business communications, information and knowledge solutions, operations management, and program and project management. And I love using this experience to help small businesses like yours and mine improve their content strategy, planning, creation, and systems so that content actually supports your business instead of draining it and draining you. I work mostly with small, scrappy teams and solopreneurs, people who, don't have massive marketing departments or budgets, but still want their content to feel intentional, aligned, and high performing. Everything I'm sharing here is designed with that reality in mind. And these are things I personally have been doing in my business for many years now. All right, enough about me. Let's move on. Here's the key reframe I want to offer you. Most content chaos isn't caused by lack of ideas or effort. It's caused by a lack of clear, lightweight systems. When those systems are missing, chaos can show up as redoing work you've already done, inconsistent messaging, assets scattered across tools and folders, unclear priorities, and content that doesn't clearly connect to business goals or audience needs. Without systems, content often feels reactive. You're posting because it's been a while. You're choosing topics based on what feels urgent or loud. And maybe you're constantly asking, what should I post next? What should I say next? With systems, content becomes more intentional. You can see what you're working toward, you know why a piece of content exists and why you're sharing it, and decisions get easier, not harder. And this is good news. This is great news. And this is flexible. And all of this these holes in your system are fixable. You don't need a massive overhaul. You don't need to become a content expert. And, small sensible systems go a very long way. And you're not married to any particular system. They can grow and change and evolve with you as your business shifts over time. Normally, I advocate for starting with strategy and then moving into the tactics, starting at that 30,000 foot perspective and then zooming into that 3-foot level. But today we're intentionally going from tactical to strategic. Why? Because quick, practical wins help you take action immediately. They reduce friction fast, and they build confidence and momentum, which makes the strategic work easier and more effective later. Think of these tips as clearing clutter off your desk before you try to tackle something big. So let's get into the 5 tips. Tip number 1, use a sensible file naming convention. This might sound super boring, but it's incredibly powerful. A sensible file naming convention means your files are named in a predictable, consistent way so that you can find them clearly, quickly, and understand what they are at a glance. When naming is messy or inconsistent, it leads to wasted time, duplicated work, and a lot of unnecessary frustration and potentially embarrassing errors. With a sensible file naming convention in place, you're opening 5 files without a sensible file naming convention in place, you're perhaps opening 5 files to find the right one, you're recreating graphics, you can't find the final, and you're unsure which version is actually live. With a file naming convention in place, you can scan a file name and immediately know what it is. You can sort files chronologically or by file type or by campaign, and you can confidently reuse or update assets without second guessing. So, for example, a file named file_v3_canva2.png, that tells you nothing, like almost nothing. But a file name that's something like 2026-02 _lead magnet _promo _IG _static _v1 immediately tells you when it was created, what it supports, where it's used, and what version it is. This is really like a gift to you in the future. Your future self will really thank you. And it becomes really essential if you ever want to collaborate, delegate, or outsource to others. Tip number 2, use an intuitive folder or organizational structure. This is sort of a natural extension to tip number 1. And the goal here is simple. Make things easy to find and use and reuse. I recommend organizing assets by what they actually are in a way that makes sense for your business and how you work and think. For example, you might keep all assets for a specific product, campaign, or presentation together in one folder. Or if it's more useful to you, you might group things like brand visuals, templates, or recurring promo assets in their own folders. Without an organizational structure in place for your files and folders, assets live in downloads, inboxes, random drives, and half-remembered locations all over the place. And you're searching instead of creating. With an organizational framework, you know exactly where to look. You can quickly pull past assets forward, and content creation feels lighter because you're not starting from zero every time. There's really no right structure. The right one is the one that fits your context and reduces friction for you. It's the one that you're going to actually use and stick with. But for sure, when assets are scattered or in disarray, content creation becomes harder than it needs to be, especially as your business grows. Tip number 3, create all-in-one Canva promo kits. Creating promotional assets like graphics for social posts or video thumbnails is where a lot of content plans fall apart. While I'm usually tech agnostic, I do believe this is an area where Canva really shines, because you can have multiple types of assets within a single project folder. And you can include inline notes and comments and share links to these items, as templates if you want to, if you need to. So what I like to do for each product or event that I need assets for, I create what I call promo kits. An all-in-one Canva promo kit is simply a single place where you can keep everything you need to promote a piece of content, offer, etc. And that might include social media post templates, video thumbnails, email banners, uh, product mock-ups, logos and headshots, custom GIFs, uh, brand palettes, and well, I think you get the gist here. Before I had these promo kits set up, every time I promoted something, my assets were spread across many project folders. I was wasting time and effort finding and opening and trying to maintain a cohesive look to all my assets. Managing assets and cloning them for future use with other things was a complete nightmare. And it was unnecessarily tedious and time consuming. Now, after implementing my promo kits approach, all my promo elements are gathered together, and it's so much easier to create new promo assets for new offers and content. My promotional efforts are definitely much faster, easier, and more consistent. And this is incredibly helpful whether you're DIYing or delegating, because it creates clarity around what exists and how it should be used. And it streamlines the process when you need to develop new assets. Tip number 4, use flexible tracking and roundup tools. By this, I mean having a central place like an Airtable base, a Notion page, a Google Sheet, or Excel worksheet to create a directory or dashboard. It's a listing or summary of resources, assets, and content you have, though the actual items listed may live somewhere else. And you may need to have more than one roundup or tracking directory dashboard, depending on how you implement this concept. You can use your directory or dashboard to record and track things like ideas and inspirations, content projects you've got going on, affiliate links and swipe materials, courses or projects or products that you want to do or use, resources you've acquired, all those freebies you collect in the bundles and summits, or maybe keeping track of your goals. Without some kind of repository, content chaos tends to get worse over time because ideas get lost, work gets duplicated, and it becomes hard to see what you've already done, what's in progress, or what's missing, or how any one thing has performed. Content feels invisible once it's published. You really just don't know what you have, so planning starts feeling like, a big old question mark. And with this sort of living library listing all of your stuff, you know what you have at hand. You can see the patterns. You can spot gaps. You can make more use more readily of existing content and resources, and you can glean insights and then make better decisions about what to create next. Documenting and tracking doesn't need to be complex or extensive. And, if it starts to feel heavy, just remember, visibility creates momentum, and momentum can create consistency. Tip number 5, use the through line to true line approach. Okay, so this is my signature approach, and it really ties everything together. A through line is the direct connection from your business goals, audience needs, and priorities to your supporting promotions or campaigns, to the communications and content that support them. And a true line is what that creates: genuine, authentic, strategic, meaningful, intentional touch points between you and your audience. And here's what this looks like in practice. Before using my through line approach, here's what often happens. Content is created in isolation. Topics are chosen because they sound good or feel timely. Offers appear without much context, and your audiences are expected to connect the dots themselves, which is suboptimal. After instituting my through line method, you can start to see clear goals and audience needs, and that's where you're going to begin your journey. You design a promotion or campaign to support those goals and audience needs, and every piece of content plays a clear role that, again, supports the promotion campaign, which supports your goals and needs. And with this through line, a true line should emerge. The true line is how your content lands and then sits with your audience. So instead of random posts, they experience clarity. Instead of confusion, they experience coherence. Instead of pressure, they experience guidance. They understand what you do, why it matters, and what steps make sense for them to take next. And this in turn, this is what turns content into meaningful engagement and not just random deliverables and senseless output. Okay, so you might be wondering, how do these puzzle pieces go together? Well, all 5 of these tips can work together. They mesh, they're complementary. But there is something really important to take note of. You do not need to implement all of them at once. Let me repeat that. You do not need to implement them all at once. And in fact, you don't need to implement all of them because not every tip will be right for every person or every business. And starting small is not just okay, it's probably really smart. Even implementing one tip that fits your context can reduce friction, build that confidence, and create that momentum to build on over time. There's a little bit of a snowball effect. And I always like to say progress beats perfection every time. Done is better than perfect, and all that jazz. You get the idea. So are you ready to jump on this? And I'm going to assume you're nodding your head. Yes, yes, Suzanne. So let's make this practical and doable. This week, pick just one tip. Not the best one, the one that feels easiest or most relieving to you. Then ask yourself, what would this look like at a minimum viable level in my business, in my life? And maybe that's renaming just your most recent files, or cleaning up one folder, or creating one simple promo kit, or starting a very basic resources tracker. You aren't trying to build a perfect system. You're trying to create a foothold. And that small action builds confidence and momentum. And confidence and momentum make everything else easier going forward. If you're thinking, this makes sense, but I want help applying it, then I'd love to offer you my guided content cluster templates. And they are designed to help you create strategically sound content without the guesswork, overthinking, or starting from scratch. And you can grab that by using the link that's provided with this presentation. And inside the freebie, you will also see a link to the SBSF Facebook group. If you want a little accountability, you can post which tip resonates most or which tip you're going to implement first. This tiny act of sharing can go a long way in turning intention into action. And that's what we're all about, right? Being action takers. If you're looking for ongoing support, guidance, resources, and community around content strategy, planning, creation, and distribution, that's exactly what my Smart Start Content Club is here for. And you can find information about Smart Start Content Club on my website, which you can access via the other provided link. So thank you so much for listening. And instead of wishing you good luck, I'm going to wish you good action. Now pick one small step and take it. Have a great day.